Good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to be here with you today. I'm Alexa Joyce. I'm the Director for Digital Transformation and Skills for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And I've had the pleasure to work with more than 100 countries across the world thinking about digital transformation in education and supported hundreds of institutions in thinking about how they improve digital skills of their students and of their faculty and educators. Today, I'd like to talk about future-ready skills and to dig into some of the reasons why we need to prepare students for the world of tomorrow. One of the biggest challenges that we see right now out in the world is that we're living through this fourth industrial revolution, where technology is becoming embedded in every single aspect of our lives and our work. We're seeing this widespread disruption of the economy, with businesses and people changing the way that they work and the way that they live. Think back just 10 years ago, it was very rare that you would be spending your evening online watching Netflix and using artificial intelligence to help guide your way home using Waze on your GPS on your phone. Today, this is very normal and way that we work every day and is a key part of the disruption that we're seeing in our lives and in the job market. All of this means that we've got a huge change in the types of skills which are required among our citizens and our employees of the future. And this has huge implications for education. At Microsoft, we take our role in this very seriously. We know as a major player within the technology industry that we have to help businesses, individuals, schools, everybody ensure that they have the access to develop their skills in the area of technology, to develop their knowledge, and to help give them the opportunity that they need to succeed in this new digital economy and digital society. The arrival of the COVID pandemic has only increased the need for us to do this type of work. We've seen that even the most normal offline business has started to adopt technology due to the COVID pandemic. My local bakery, since the arrival of the pandemic, allows me now to make orders online and to pay digitally and to go to pick up those orders without having to meet the staff in the shop. This wasn't possible more than 2 years ago. And we see that this type of change, even in those areas of life and work where technology was the slowest to be adopted, are really starting to adapt to this new world of digital society and digital economy. We also see that employers plan to continue and to accelerate their digitization, with 84% saying that they're going to continue on this path. And 50% of employers intend to speed up the automation of tasks to reduce the number of repetitive and not so exciting job roles, and to find ways where they can use higher level skills, software insights, technology to accelerate some of those traditional areas of work. And this is reflected in the forecast that we see coming from research in terms of the demand for skills in 2030. We're seeing an erosion of the need for basic cognitive skills, for physical and manual skills, as jobs which require lower levels of education start to disappear. But we are seeing job growth in other areas which require higher levels of technology skills, that require sophisticated social and emotional skills to enable problem solving, to support collaboration, to understand other cultures so that we can work together globally, as well as higher level cognitive skills such as problem solving, insight, and being able to analyze issues and to synthesize issues in ways that perhaps were not so much a traditional part of the old style workforce. We also see, when we look at the figures in Europe, that there are too few computer science graduates. This graph is about the US, but you'll see very similar trends in the European situation as well, with a lower percentage of students going into computer science disciplines at tertiary level compared to the traditional sciences such as biology and engineering. This is in part because young people struggle to envision what it really means to work in the computer science or IT industry. And that lack of understanding, lack of knowledge of the opportunities which are available to them is causing even a downwards trend in the number of students going into computer science degrees, particularly acute in Europe. We also know that computer science is not necessarily attractive enough to a wide base of different people. In Europe, only 17% of ICT students are female, and this is reflected by participation in the job market, with only 16% of ICT specialists being female. So we need to work harder at making digital skills and computer science appealing to both genders and to make it really inclusive. The same applies to the social and economic and ethnic backgrounds of students. Here, this is data coming from the US. The data in Europe is probably even more unbalanced than you see in the US. Too few people see themselves as potential future IT specialists. And we see also that there's a drop-off among particularly women and those coming from ethnic minorities within the first year of computer science degrees. We need to find ways to broaden the base, but also to keep them in that area of education. So we see this is a major challenge. We've got a big problem in that we're going through this global economic crisis, which has been provoked by COVID. We're seeing this new type of economy emerge where digital has become more embedded and more important than ever before, and has led to an even more acute situation in terms of the skills gap, where people don't have the sufficient level of digital skills that we need in Europe, in Portugal, to be able to build the society of tomorrow. And so there's a need for new types of partnerships, bringing together the public and the private sector to tackle these challenges together. This is why at Microsoft we're putting so much focus on partnering with education institutions, with universities, with schools, with ministries of education, to be able to find ways to tackle these challenges together. Let's look a little bit more at the situation in Portugal. I pulled this data from the LinkedIn economic graph. LinkedIn is one of the biggest data sets that we have in the world today, looking at current job trends, what are the skills that employers are looking for. Based on this analysis of the hires taking place in Portugal for the 3 months ending in May 2021, we can see that by far the biggest job which is being hired in that period is software engineer. Although there are many other job roles being recruited, when we look at the skills which are required within each of these job advertisements, on average, more than a quarter of the top skills required are technical skills. So we know that technical skills are more important than ever. We know that employers are struggling to find the people that they need with the right technical skills. But we also see that students find computer science and technology degrees and curriculum at primary, secondary school hard, difficult, and sometimes boring. They want to have more hands-on experiences. We know that when they get the opportunity to use IT for problem solving, they're more motivated. And we need to get them the opportunity to also use full-scale professional tools so that when they graduate, they can directly apply their learning in their jobs. So thinking about how do we adapt this, how do we innovate in terms of computer science courses and technical courses, and integrate technology into other courses like management and business so that we meet students' needs for themselves and for their futures. So at Microsoft, we think about this in phases. The first phase being at primary education level. We need to make sure that every single child is cultivated in terms of their modern skill development, communication, collaboration, critical thinking, but also computational thinking. We can already introduce concepts around algorithms at age 5 or 6. And bringing in that type of computational thinking early on sets them up for better success in later parts of their school career. It's also critical that we give them digital literacy and IT training at early stage in primary. Too often we think that young people and children are digital natives. But when we look at the research, the digital natives are incredibly proficient at using technology for leisure purposes, for social media, for gaming, for watching videos online. But they don't necessarily know how to use tools for a productive learning and working scenario. And that's where schools really have to come in to help. And that particularly helps to bridge the gap for those who might be digitally excluded in their home. At primary age, we can also introduce block-based programming, and we see that young children find it very fun and very exciting if it's brought in a way that appeals to them in a visual and rewarding way. As we move into secondary education, this is where we can start to transition the students into areas of text-based programming, introducing them to the fundamentals of computer science, bringing in important issues like technology ethics and data concepts and design thinking, and even introduce them to the cloud. We're seeing also increasingly that governments and schools are excited about introducing AI into the curriculum at secondary level as well. AI is becoming such an important part of the way that we use technology in our life and our work that this is increasingly being seen as a key part of the computer science curriculum, even before the age of 18. And we're also seeing that some institutions that we partner with are starting to introduce industry level certifications so that students at secondary level can finish high school with an academic diploma from the high school as well as an industry certification like a Microsoft Office specialist or even a cloud fundamentals or Azure fundamentals diploma. As we move into higher education, this is where we can start to really get ready with professional level full-scale tools. We're working increasingly with universities to build joint master's programs, joint bachelor's programs, as well as offering Microsoft certification alongside traditional pathways so that students can graduate with both academic and industry technical skills in ways that are going to set them up for success for the future. Research that we've done via IDC has shown that those students who go into technical careers who have both an academic degree and industry certification are much more likely to be successful, to be promoted quickly, and even to go into the job market with a higher level of salary than those who go with an academic degree alone. So to look at that primary and secondary age, which is so important to set up the initial stages of computer science learning, one of the key things that we've seen through our research at Microsoft is that computer science curriculum around the world is challenged. We see that it's very hard for education systems to build curricula which can adapt to the fast pace of technology change. And this is where partnership with Microsoft and other industry players can be so important to keep the constant update in terms of how technology changes in the curriculum. We need to find ways to widen the appeal and the relevance of computer science through bringing in hands-on content, connecting to role models, bringing in examples of how technology can be harnessed to solve big real-world societal challenges. And this is going to enable us to make access to computer science more equitable and to build more equitable digital societies where the solutions and technologies that we choose and that we develop are more relevant for every single citizen. It's also important to think about how does computer science progress throughout the school career of the student. Building on that initial exposure to computational thinking at the very beginning of primary level to iterate constantly throughout the school career to arrive at a more sophisticated understanding at the end of secondary. We've built a computer science toolkit to help guide and offer curriculum for school-age children. And we've built this in response to requests from organizations across the world who'd been asking us for advice in how this could happen. In the toolkit, you can find guidance for institutions to be able to look at new ways to approach the curriculum for computer science. It includes research on what are some of the best practices, what are some of the challenges, what are some of the key things that we need to take into account as we evolve computer science teaching and learning in schools. It also includes a complete map of all the programs and resources and materials that you can find from Microsoft, but also from Microsoft's partners to help you deliver new, more exciting ways to learn and teach about computer science in the classroom. We support all of this with online professional development courses and online tools that can be used for teachers to improve their own skill sets and knowledge before they go on to use them in the classroom. All of it builds on a rich set of content. At primary level, one of our key assets for supporting computer science learning is Minecraft Education Edition. Many of you may know children who love playing Minecraft in their spare time, and so we've harnessed the amazing enthusiasm around Minecraft to turn it into a real learning experience. And it includes a huge amount of pre-populated, pre-created content for computer science that teachers can use very easily to start to tackle those fundamental concepts in the classroom. It also includes a programming interface so that students can begin to program their own bot in the Minecraft world to build structures, to build interactions, so that they can really get to grips with what computer science and programming can mean in a virtual space. We also supplement the material with incredible resources coming from our partners, like Computer Science Unplugged, which doesn't even require a computer to start to introduce things like algorithms in the primary school classroom, and content from code.org that progresses across the different age levels. As students get more sophisticated in their use of technology, they can also segue into building hands-on solutions with Microsoft MakeCode. We've got a block-based coding interface that can connect to hardware interfaces like Arduino to be able to build new experiences for students in the classroom and to build real solutions to challenges that we pose to them. Microsoft Learn is our key platform as we move into secondary level and at the upper end and into universities to start to develop really deep technical skills as well. So want to spend a moment just to talk about what's available right now for you to use today in Minecraft if you're in a primary or secondary school. We have the Hour of Code Timecraft campaign, which was launched just in December as part of the Code Week, which includes activities where students are introduced to programming and get the opportunity to harness the power of programming to be able to solve challenges in the Minecraft education world. And this is freely available for any student, any teacher, and really a fun experience to get your hands on. So to visit Microsoft Learn in more detail for secondary level, I want to make sure that you're aware of this incredible platform to skill up students, to skill up educators, to skill up faculty in technology areas. Microsoft Learn for Students is a student homepage on the Learn platform, and it helps students of all ages learn about technology, prepare for certification, and dig into step-by-step bite-sized tutorials to train themselves in a gamified interface that accumulates points over time. It includes learning paths with interactive labs and is appropriate for secondary through to higher education students. As you can see, it's really easy to find technology-related learning opportunities that relate to specific job roles, as well as to different areas of sophistication and levels of knowledge in computer science. Here's an example of Azure Fundamentals. This is our introductory course to the cloud, and students can browse through the modules, watch the videos, take quizzes, develop their learning over time, but also get hands-on with the technology. With sandboxes, it's possible to interact with the Azure services for free on the Learn platform. And students also get access to free Azure credit through the Azure for Students program, so they can actually start to use full-scale professional tools as part of their learning experience. It means that they go straight into the full-scale professional Azure portal to be able to build solutions to trial technologies and to understand that maybe computer science, maybe technology is not as intimidating or difficult as they thought it was initially. For educators, the Microsoft Learn platform also provides a ton of training material and access. So it's really worth going to look there for pedagogical training around the use of technology, but we also have the Microsoft Learn for Educator program where educators can sign up to get skilled up to be able to offer our certification experiences in classroom. So through the program, educators get access to the Microsoft Learn official curriculum, which enables to teach the content aligned to our different certifications in the classroom. There's self-training and videos available to get ready to be able to actually deliver this in a classroom, and even opportunities to certify educators themselves. That curriculum is available for free, and just have to prove that you're an educator by using an academic email address to sign up to the platform. So I've taken you on a whistle-stop tour of everything that Microsoft has to offer for computer science and developing future-ready skills in your students. It's an incredibly important time to get focused, to get active in really developing upper level, deeper level technical skills among our students so that they can succeed in their lives and in their work. And you can go away today and get yourself ready to do that. You can download our computer science toolkit. I'd encourage you to have a look and dig right in. And for those students who are in upper secondary and tertiary level, encourage them to go and use the student platform on Microsoft Learn to get themselves ready and to try out some of these professional level technical tools for themselves. And finally, would also encourage you, if you're faculty, if you're educator, to sign up for the Microsoft Learn for Educators program. You'll get increasingly rich access to a wide base of content in different areas like cloud, AI, data, cybersecurity, and much more. So it's been a great pleasure to get the opportunity to speak to you today, and I'm excited about the work that we can do together between your institutions and Microsoft to make sure that students are really ready for the future. Thank you.